got good news. We're going on a paranormal investigation. Finally. So, this is great and fantastic news, and I don't know how good this camera shot is. So, let's just hope that it's not bad. So, I'm just going to set you guys down real quick. So, we are going to be going to, nope, too low. We're going to be going to a couple of haunted places and some strange places. This is not flutter angle. Spooky. It's not focusing, but this is a cemetery. Spooky. We're actually going to be going to a cemetery later to check out the Lady in Granite. If you've never heard of her, it's actually about Matilda Gillett. She died and she had a pure black granite headstone there, and a strange mark has appeared under the finish of the tombstone, whatever. And they've actually replaced it 3 times, and the same exact mark has appeared. They've tried to polish it out and it doesn't go away. They say it's her head, and that slowly over the years her whole entire body will form onto it, and then her spirit will be free to haunt the town. So we're gonna be checking there out after we check out a couple of other places. Are you excited?
I cannot wait.
I don't know if that was false enthusiasm trying to cover his fear.
Well, I'm a little fearful, but not very much.
Hopefully the snow doesn't ruin it, but I've come prepared with rain boots, so that should be good. We're actually on the way to pick up my grandparents who are coming with us. And
that's more frightening.
because they're not his parents, they're my mom's parents. Now you're Santa Claus. And we are here. It's so nice out.
No complaining.
No complaining.
No. On a sunny day.
Oh, it's so nice out. Like, look at this. It's so pretty. I gotta get the door though. Oh, yeah, I almost got your arm. So, it's so beautiful out. That's such a pretty patio, gazebo thing. And we're here. This used to be a prison. And the only thing that really looks like it's not a picture, it's a video. So, there's bars on the windows, but that's really like the most thing that you can see. Everybody's in front of me. That's really the most that you can see, hinting to the fact that it used to be a jail. While we were looking for somewhere to park, we went in there, which used to be the courtyard, and so there's a parking lot, but I think it's only for employees. But this looks cool. So we're gonna be heading inside now. Okay, we just got inside. Look at this place. Oh my gosh. But this does look like a jail. On the outside you can't tell, and then you walk inside and it's just like, wow.
We're supposed to ask for Clark, but we hope he hasn't been dead for, 25 years. That would be spooky.
But like, whoa. Yeah. Okay, because we have the ghost thing going on, I'm going to show you something cool with a magical $20 bill. So what happens is, just realized I need 2 hands for this. Cameraman. Okay, so if you take, I don't think it works on 1s, but it does work on 20s. If you take a bill and you hold it up to a light, you probably can't see it on that, but I'm going to do my best to show you guys, right around this area, which guy is this? Jackson's face will show up. Do you want to test it?
Yeah.
It's really cool. And when you do it on 5s, Abraham Lincoln's face shows up, and so does a massive 5. You're holding it the wrong way. If you want to see it for yourself.
I see it.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh. Mind try it?
Yeah.
Is that a ghost lady thing?
Some people say it is because it's like a ghost face.
But no, you saw the one down here?
No.
Yeah. See, you were just seeing
Oh, you're just.
this one. Well, hold it up there.
No, I wasn't.
Sure.
No,
That guy right
exactly.
there?
Oh, that's the one, only it was turned around. That's the one I see right in there.
There's one over here.
No, there-
So, you always have to start with a picture of the ghost.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
What? This focuses. My camera doesn't like to focus. That's
And that's a little
crazy.
blown, that's a blown up version.
Oh my gosh. Oh, now it focuses. That's
Maybe
crazy.
it'll be easier if you take a picture of that. That one always seems to come out better when people take pictures of it than this one.
Oh my. That is crazy.
So we call him George, and that's because we inherited George. When we moved in here 7 years ago, we said there's a ghost here. We call him George, and supposedly George was the town drunk, and so he just got thrown in jail repeatedly. It kind of like Otis, you know. From
Yeah, I was gonna
Griffith
say.
Show, yeah. And so when he passed away, he just kind of stuck around because this is where it was comfortable. So I said, okay, you know, I buy that, but people would come in here and they knew George, and from back in the '60s or whatever. And I was looking at this picture, and if you'll see in this picture, he almost looks like he has kind of almost like a greatcoat on, and that looks like a top hat. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this George doesn't fit that time period.
I was
So,
gonna
so I wasn't really convinced that that picture was George. We still call him George, but and I'll get to this in a little bit about why we're kind of thinking that this has become a little more legitimate. But he, like I said, he's a little mischievous, and I'm going to take you upstairs in just a second. But we haven't had a lot of activity lately, except Saturday night. Okay.
This Saturday?
Just this past Saturday night. Now, my kitchen staff had just left. I have one server still here, and I sit there where that computer is, and I do their end of night paperwork. All right, so I have one server that was standing kind of on the other side of the bar, and this is we'd already been closed for an hour and a half. Right? So I'm sitting there doing the paperwork, and because one of the employees had just walked out the front door was locked. But the back door was locked because once the kitchen staff leaves, I always lock my own door. So I'm sitting there doing paperwork, and I hear the door open. And I look, and the door literally opened all the way and then closed. Now, that happens every once in a while a little bit. If the back door is open, the wind will kind of push that door open up that much. But the back door was locked, and it opened all the way and it closed.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like, I'm thinking, and then my immediate thought was like, okay, it's the night before Easter. George is either left to go visit somebody for Easter, or he just came back from some sort of family celebration. I'm not sure which. But needless to say, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this paperwork up really fast. I'm getting out of here because that was just a little too weird for me. So,
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so let's go upstairs because besides the front door opening, most of this stuff happens upstairs.
Oh boy. Oh, I just got a feeling in my stomach. Oh my gosh.
Have you been up here yet?
No.
No? Okay. So, but the best part about this is it's still sort of a working jail.
Oh, we're getting the picture up here.
Now, the photograph that I showed you, George, was taken by a customer in front of this cell right here. And this is where people tell us that they feel something if they're in there. And some of the things they say is they feel like either somebody's standing behind them or somebody is pushing against them, but they feel things in this cell here. Okay? So, and that's exactly what I do too. Like in fact, and that Saturday night when I came up to turn the lights out, because everybody had left at that point, I like turned the lights out down here and I said, "Happy Easter, George," and I walked away. I want to be respectful because I don't know at this point. So the couple of the weird things that happen around here, and it's either like in this cell or that cell. You know, so we're not really sure, but like I said, the picture was taken down here. We had a couple that were sitting in that cell. There's usually a table in there. We had to bring it out to extend this over here. And they were having dinner one night, and you know, like most people do nowadays, there was a cell phone out in the middle of the table, and all of a sudden the cell phone just started taking pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Just like boom, 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 taking
Oh my
pictures.
gosh.
And it was just taking pictures of the ceiling, but it was taking
pictures.
Right? Then, so one other night, I had been talking to a couple downstairs in the bar, and I was telling them the story about George and what happens up here. So they came up and they wanted to try and take a picture, see if they could get a picture of George too. And when they came up with their cell phone, they couldn't take a picture. The phone would not take a picture.
Oh my
Just the
God.
screen would just kind of flash out white. So they went back downstairs, took all the pictures they wanted to, came back upstairs, the exact same thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
My camera working?
well,
What
so
the heck?
my guess is that
Wait, my camera's all of a sudden on. Wait, it had like 3 bars earlier. What the heck?
Okay.
so sometimes I think that George is feeling photogenic, and other times I think he's being shy. So when the picture was being taken over there, I think he wanted his picture taken.
Gotcha.
But they weren't paying attention to that. And the other couple, he just didn't want to have anything to do with them.
Why don't you go in the cell?
So, most of the time, like I say, George is pretty well behaved. The things that sort of happen up here are simple things where somebody will be sitting at their table talking, and all of a sudden a glass of wine or a glass of water will just fall over, even though nobody's touching the table. You know. So again, it's kind of like that Dennis the Menace thing, right? But it always happens in this general area here. It doesn't happen any further down, doesn't happen downstairs, it just happens up here, right? Now, when we first took over the restaurant about 7 years ago, the previous people that were in here had put up a bunch of historic photographs, and from back around the late 1800s, and one of them was on that wall right there, and it was a picture that looked like a May Day celebration, and it was taken right across the street at the park over there, and it was just a bunch of girls or ladies, you know, dancing, like a May Day celebration from back in the old days. And for the entire 7 years we've been here, I am the first one in the door every day, and I'm the last one out the door every night, no matter what. It's never been anything different, right? So my routine is at the end of the night, I come up and I turn the lights out, make sure that door's shut, and, you know, say hi to George, and leave. And so when I left, the picture was still on the wall. And when I got here in the morning to go back through the reverse of that routine to turn lights on, the picture had been ripped off the wall, which you can see because everything is Velcroed because of the metal and everything. So it was Velcro. The picture had been ripped off the wall, and the edge closest to the wall was right here, where that tape is.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm thinking, you know, I have no idea. I mean, for one thing, I don't. It's a jail, so not only is it hard to break out of, it's hard to break into. And I actually tried to break into it once when I forgot my keys, and I could not. And I'm actually fairly good at that sort of thing. I could not get into this jail, and I can't imagine why somebody would break into the jail and leave any money or alcohol or anything that they could, or stakes, and just come up and rip a picture off the wall and leave it on the floor here. Wow. That made no sense to me whatsoever. So now I always try and figure out like what might have happened. Like if the picture had just fallen off the wall and hit just right, maybe it would bounce a little bit. But for it to bounce that far just did not make sense, you know. So that was one of those inexplicable things, you know. So that sort of convinced me that maybe this George thing is a real thing, right? So as I mentioned earlier, George was the town drunk, but I didn't think the two images, or the image in my mind of what this should be matched the picture. So about a month and a half ago, the Tioga County historian came in, and she brought in some information about the history of the jail. And this particular version of the jail was built in 1910, right? And the inmates actually that were in the jail at the time had to excavate the foundation. So they basically had to build their own jail, right? And it was a small, the previous jail was much smaller cinder block kind of building attached to the sheriff's house on that side. And so it talked about that whole, building of the jail and the chain, because they had a chain gang back then, and they would chain them up and march them up the road, and they would sit in the county yard and break up rocks to build the jail or build roads and that sort of thing. And one of the little tidbits that they had on there was one of the first people to be incarcerated in the new jail was this guy who had been arrested by 14 different sheriffs for intoxication.
Oh my.
And this was back in that era, the late 1800s, where that would kind of match that picture, that look. So I'm thinking, you know what? I think that is George, whether that was his name or not. I think that's who George is. And then I was thinking about that picture, because that was from that same era. And I'm thinking that maybe, now he's the town drunk, right? Why was he the town drunk? I'm thinking, well, maybe somebody in that picture, one of the ladies or girls, broke his heart, turned him to drink, and that was like maybe an anniversary or something. It was just something that one day he didn't want that picture on the wall anymore. And I never put the picture back up, by the way. Once it was down and that far away, it's like, I'm just going to leave that down there. I'm going to put it away, and we're never putting that one back up again. But, wow. Yeah. So.
Oh, that was you.
I don't ever sell
But, there hasn't been anything, like I said, anything really frightening or scary here. Just some little creepy things every once in a while, like the door opening.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I saw George once, and I come in on Sundays because we're closed on Sundays, except now we're going to be open on Sundays. But I would come in and do about 2 or 3 hours worth of work by myself. And one day I was up here and I was just going through and doing some things, and I turned and I saw this guy standing over there, and I turned away and I turned back and he was gone. But I know I saw somebody standing there.
Oh my God.
And just looking at me, and I was thinking, I think I've done enough work for today. So I just got out of here as quick as I could.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But other than that,
But stop, doesn't take much.
no, it doesn't take much at all.
Little
Yeah.
hints. And have any questions for him? No?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. Now, to be a little bit on the darker side,
Oh boy.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
what am I going to say?
About the execution in the courtyard.
Yeah.
I've done some research.
So you know what he did and who he was?
I didn't know all of that.
No, you don't know any of that?
I don't know all of it, at
Okay,
least.
well, so it was somebody from the 1800s, and because he needed money, he broke into somebody's house, caught the guys by surprise, and attempted to kill the guy. The guy didn't die, so then he went back and he finished the job, and he was arrested for it, tried, convicted, the whole thing, and he was the only public execution in Tioga County, and it happened right out back, right outside our back door. Now this was before this jail was built, so it was that old jail where our I think our George was too, and so if there's any kind of malevolent spirit here, that would probably be who that guy was, and so. What I'm thinking was probably right after the execution, he was taken down into the basement of the sheriff's house until they could take him away. And I have talked to some people that have gone down into the basement of the sheriff's house, and do not like being down there. There was a construction worker that bigger than you are, and he said, I went in there once and something just terrified me, and he goes, I went screaming out of there like a little girl.
Wow.
No offense. So he goes, I had never went back into that basement again.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, you know, luckily that's not part of our leaseholding here,
Right.
you know, so we don't have to go down there, but, so maybe we have dueling ghosts here. Maybe we have our happy George, you know, that was content to have a few drinks and maybe get thrown in jail. And we have the other guy that, whatever the circumstances were, was forced into desperation and did something not so great.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.